Thank you so much for joining in. Good evening to everybody. How's everybody doing? Today is 21 of May. The time is 1:50 in the evening over here in Tijuana, Mexico. We are live. Now, the title is says shut down. I mean shut down with a U. An error right there on the writing. I apologize for my audience. I meant to say shut down with a U, not with an O. So apologize for my audience. Share the video, like the video, share the video. We are live also in Getter. We are live also in Getter for people that want to join in Getter. God bless you. Thank you so much for joining in. Also, we are going to be live also on Rumble tomorrow. Also, we're going to be live on Rumble. Share the video, like the video, share the video, like the video, hit that bell button on YouTube, Facebook, and also X. And also, not only that, hit that bell button also on Getter for people that want to watch, for people that want to join in. Thank you so much for joining in. Now, shut down the border, shut down the Darien. There has been only two journalists who had done that route 4 times. And it has been Ben Berquam and myself. We have done it 4 times. Look, I have the patch right here. All of a sudden I have the patch. Darien, it is not a route. This was in 2023. They gave it to us right there. And it was the one that I was putting on my backpack. The beautiful authorities of Panama always doing their best to basically, do what they had to do. And also they're heroes. They're heroes all the time, and they have been heroes, rescuing their territory and their land. What is happening right now at the Darien Gap? I've been informing and I've been saying to people, 97% it has decreased. 97% it has decreased the flow through the Darien Gap. But the most amazing is that they have been shutting down, the authorities of Panama, little by little, the Darien Gap, migrant camps, which they're the ones where the NGOs were profiting. Those are the places where not only the NGOs, OIM, UNHCR, the United Nations, where they were receiving millions of dollars out of federal taxpayer of the United States of America, and it was a humongous, huge problem in the United States. So right now, it is shut down. Say hello to everybody that is, that is joining right now at Getter. God bless you. Share the video, like the video, share the video at Getter. Nice to say hello to every single one of you guys. We're going to be live now at Getter. We're going to use that platform. We got almost like 30,000 followers over there. I don't know why we are not using Getter. So I want to put this report that we have been doing. We have been consistently reporting on the atrocities. I want to report lastly also, we're going to do this report with evidence of how the United Nations, it is basically smoke screening all the atrocities in terms to the numbers of homicides, intentional homicides, that in their perspective and in their eyes, they're not intentional. They're negligent homicides, or they're categorized as an involuntary manslaughter. So they will show to the world that it's not a crisis, and that is not a crisis, that is not supposed to be a crisis, and that there's nothing going on with the cartel activity. But more than that, this is our report from a couple of days ago that we were in the road, over here, going on our road to the border of Tecate. This is our report from the border of Tecate, where we heard that 76% of the border crossings have decreased in the part of, in the part of California. 76% decrease in the part of California. That's a lot. For people that they don't understand, that is a huge amount. And for them to say 97%, it has decreased on the part of the Darien, my God, I'm just telling you, I have been there 4 times, and it is not a place that you want to be in. I'm telling you this, it is not a place that you want to be in more than some fraction of days. You don't want to be there. So let me put this report for people to understand what am I talking about, and let me just press play, and then we go to the most aggravating news that every time I have something to say about what are the consequences of these open border policies of Joe Biden, what are the consequences of not only opening up the border, but the consequences of ultimately the collateral damage that this has caused. And it's showing right now in Mexico with migrants that they were recruited by the cartel. So this is one of the reports. Just recently, the Border Patrol of San Diego and all San Diego sector has announced that 76% under the Trump administration, as Trump just arrived to be president, has decreased the illegal migration and also illegal crossings into the San Diego sector from the parts of Tijuana, the parts of Mexicali, and the parts of Tecate. This place, Jacumba, that it was next door to Jamul, Baja California, was one of the most massive illegal crossings in the whole borderline in connection with Mexico and the United States. So right now, the Border Patrol has informed that because they eliminated catch and release, the crossings to the United States of America have decreased in the Baja sector 76%. Amazing what the Trump policies and ultimately securing the border will do, as this is what the American people voted for. I'm Oscar Blue reporting from Tijuana, Baja California. Stay safe. The message that is clear from the current administration: if you enter illegally to our country, you are not going to be processed. You are going to be deported and returned back to your country.
Que vienen siendo cárcel, deportación, expulsión.
El gobierno de los Estados Unidos y la patrulla fronteriza ha puesto fin a la práctica de arrestar y soltar.
The government of the United States of America and the Border Patrol has ended the policy of catch and release.
Y removido de los Estados Unidos.
So yes, this how it has decreased enormously, and it's hitting the cartel in the pockets. Now, let's go to the other report that I just did about how the organized crime it is also actively happening in the parts of Mexico, but ultimately how it has decreased the level of illegal migration from the Darien Gap into Mexico, and how it has decreased also inside of the Darien Gap. It is amazing how this has completely shut down. We were in this place, Lajas Blancas, and I will explain why I explain this place specifically, Lajas Blancas, that is a migrant camp outside of the Darien, which at the particular time when we were in there were more than almost 6,000 to 7,000 people in that particular place. Let me just get the video for people to watch this and understand what am I talking about. The Trump effect, the Trump policies have completely caused an effect, not only in Central America, but South America. The flow through the Darien Gap, 99% has decreased. It has decreased until what point? This is the migrant camp of Lajas Blancas before. This is when we visited this migrant camp, Ben Berquam and myself. More than 10,000 migrants were located right here on the year 2023 and part of the year 2024. But ultimately, it was going to come to a close. Right now, the authorities of Panama have informed that this migrant camp, where a lot of NGOs were located, as Doctors Without Borders, HIAS, United Nations, OIM, the UNHCR, has already been closed. So completely, the Darien Gap, until this moment, it has been shut down. Unbelievable. Imagine that, completely shut down. Completely, the Darien Gap, which it was an epicenter of people dying, an enormous epicenter of people dying. And we walked that place 4 times. It was, to be honest with all of you guys, it has been the place which I have seen the most horrible atrocities done to human beings. And it's just horrible to be in there. It was just horrible to be in there, to be honest. And to do it 4 times, my God. But that is not the most aggravating thing about this. We have been reporting since we started covering the migration from Central America, the parts of Guatemala, Honduras, borders with Nicaragua, El Salvador, also Colombia, Venezuela, inside the jungle in Panama. We have been for years saying to the American people and to the American audience, and also to the administration who was going to be the current administration, there is a vast majority of individuals, which they are former military individuals, former military, which they are entering the country of the United States of America. And we have said this. We have done, excuse me, we have done multiple interviews. 2 former military from Afghanistan, former military from Nigeria, Congo, Cameroon, Burkina Faso, Pakistan, Bangladesh, India, all these places, they're former military, Colombia, and Venezuela. What am I talking about? Former military? We're talking about staff sergeants, you know, all these people that they were trained in their military and they were potentially running away from persecution in their country, but they were entering the United States of America, and the country of the United States was deliberately letting everybody in. And at the end of the day, was letting them go without a previous investigation. Now, if you're in the former military and if you're entering another country illicitly, illegally, irregularly, however you want to call it, however you want to call it, however you want to call it, you need to be understanding that you were in the military of another country and why you're running away from fear. And these cases were not even investigated. Why am I adding this and why am I saying this? It is clear that those people and those migrants, and this is a speculation, this is me assuming that this possibly happened. This is me assuming that possibly this happened, right? But there's hundreds of thousands of migrants that they stayed in the country of Mexico and they did not have no other option but to stay here. And they said, well, might as well, I will stay here. I will wait to see what happens in the next administration going on 2028. Let's see what happens. If I have the possibility to cross, well, I will cross. If I have the possibility to go, well, I will go. If I have the possibility to basically, start a new life after 2028, if there's a possibility, I will do it. So a lot of them, thousands, hundreds of thousands of them decided to stay in Mexico. What happened to these former military men? That they were intended to cross to the United States, a lot of them, they were, a majority of them, recruited by the organized crime and the cartel. I remember that I walked in a caravan and there was a guy from Peru, that he was the guy that it was, basically in charge of the animosities that they were existing between migrants. And he was the one that it was calming down the people. It was a really tall guy, like 6'3", 6'5", big, gigantic dude. And he told me as he was walking, he said, Oscar, I just got approached by a cartel member from the specific cartel. They're telling me to join him. What should I do? I said, don't ask me. First and foremost, there's the police. Second of all, go all the way to the front and ask for help. They shouldn't be doing that. And that is when I realized back in 2021, I realized that there was a lot of infiltration of the organized crime in caravans. Why am I saying this? Because a lot of the members in former military, they decided to be recruited. By who? By the organized crime and the cartel. And it is a reality. I'm not lying. This is not a speculation. This just happened. Breaking. The Mexican Navy with Marine infantry personnel led a high-impact operation in undercover operations surprise a cell of the Mencho organization of the CJNG in Michoacan. The Marines asked the criminals to surrender, but they responded with gunfire against the naval personnel, and then all hell broke loose. Among the arrested were ex-military personnel by Colombia. 3 Mexican Marines were reported wounded, and 12 aggressors were reported shut down. Let me remind you, this about former Colombian military being infiltrated with a cartel. The mass illegal migration, as we have reported inside of the Darien, we have said multiple times, a lot of these migrants that they were coming through the Darien Gap were former military. We interviewed former military from Africa, former military from Colombia, and also former military from Venezuela. This is an interview that I did in the middle of the jungle with the Colombian coyote trafficker, which he fled Mexico after the cartels were persecuting him because he was working for the organized crime in Colombia, trafficking humans from the central parts of Mexico into the United States.
México, Chihuahua. Pasaba gente y esa vez fue
Pasabas gente desde Culiacán hasta Chihuahua y por Chihuahua.
Querétaro. Cogía desde Querétaro y Chihuahua. Ese era
¿Pasabas en camión?
En camionetas privadas. Porque ya hoy en día hay que saberlo ocultar, porque ya la gente no se deja ver tanto, de mucha gente lleva mucha cámara, mucho infiltrado. Entonces, yo lo que te puedo decir es eso.
¿Cuánto cobraban?
Cobraba de México allá por persona $2,500. Vine porque hubo mucha matanza y me tocó venirme a Colombia.
This obviously tells you that there's a lot of infiltration of people that they are former military in the parts of Central America and South America with the cartels in Mexico. And the most aggravating things about it is that a lot of these former military men enter the country of the United States of America undetected, entering and then being released into the population in American territory. I'm Oscar Blue for Real America's Boys News. Stay safe. Well, what do you guys think? How many hundreds of thousands individuals who crossed the Darien Gap, who were former military, how many of you think that they have entered the country of the United States of America? And they have, and still a lot of these individuals, they're in Mexico. And the organized crime and the cartel, they're not losing their, they're not losing their time. They know that they can hire these individuals and they have the capacities to, and the capabilities to know how to conduct a firearm. They know how to do military drills, and they have been military trained by their own military in their own country. So what makes you think that there's no possibility moving forward in much whatsoever as to inevitably this could be something that it can cause an instability inside of the United States of America? Not counting everybody, there's a comment right here, not counting, it says the military age men from China and Middle Eastern countries. This I would like to address. There was a migrant from Afghanistan that I interviewed, that he was a former military pilot from Afghanistan. Also, there was former military from India. And over here in Tijuana, we interviewed a former pilot of Russia. So how many of these former military, they're inside of the United States of America? God knows what. Nobody knows. And this, has generated an escalating violence. Just the atrocities that have been happening in Mexico with the organized crime and the cartel. What am I referencing to? I'm referencing to what has sadly been happening in our country. It is more than, everybody needs to understand on the 6 years of Andrés Manuel López Obrador, the past president, more than 36 political candidates were assassinated and murdered, which tells you the level of danger that, a lot of the basic situations which we were going through. Now, another, 2 political candidates in less than 2 weeks. And one is a political candidate for mayor, was assassinated in Veracruz. And the other one was head chief of secretary of the government of state in the city of Mexico. She was assassinated just a couple of days ago. Again, this is unbelievable, the level of insecurity and the level of aggressiveness which is happening this. Now, why the corrupt government of Mexico, it is hiding the statistics and stats of why this is continuously happening on homicides, why they're not saying it was an intentional homicide, why they're categorizing everything as an involuntary manslaughter, as a negligent homicide, because they know if they categorize it like that, they will actually have a gigantic crisis, and they cannot hide it. Even on the mass graves, they're categorizing corpses that they were tortured and they have their hands tied and their legs tied and they were put underneath, just buried. And they're saying that that was a negligent homicide. And the United Nations is in cahoots with this. This is aggravating. Look at this report. Again, the violence in Mexico escalating enormously with the organized crime and the cartel. Today, another act of violence in the city of Mexico as the chief of secretary for the governor of the city of Mexico was ambushed and assassinated today in the capital. During this morning on the 20th of May, the chief of government, Clara Brugada, has announced through her X account that her chief particular of secretary of the government of city of Mexico, Jimena Guzman Cuevas, has lost her life in a particular aggression through the south streets of the capital. Through this particular statement, the capital governor has announced that there are prior investigations to find the responsible aggressors through this horrible tragedy. In the report of the governor of the city of Mexico has announced that she condemns this attacks and she is going to find the aggressors of the two people that they were brutally attacked. One of them, Jimena Guzman, the chief of secretary of the governor, and also Jose Munoz. The news was announced in the morning conference of the president of Mexico, where she was completely shocked, and she has said that there will be no impunity to find justice. The cartel violence continues to escalate in Mexico, as weeks ago, a mayor was assassinated brutally in a rally in the part of Veracruz, and now the chief of secretary of the city of Mexico was brutally murdered in front of the public. I'm Oscar Blue for Real America's Voice News. Stay safe. Yeah. Unbelievable. And the violence continues. It continues to escalate in the country. The governor of Baja, it is not actually being honest about what is going on. Her visa was revoked. And, there was just a protest against her because the level of violence has been completely escalating. And she's getting completely humiliated. It is not like it's not happening. It's a reality. She's getting completely humiliated. This is the governor of Baja, which just a week ago, her visa was canceled. Her husband, that is the one on the right, the first one on the right, Carlos Torres, his visa was canceled first, and then her visa, which has been a national scandal. Every mainstream media has been on this. Has been a national scandal, which everybody knows that they don't take away your visa just because of your good looks, or they don't take away your visa because you didn't go to Disneyland. They take away your visa because something is going on and you're doing something wrong. And inevitably, they cannot hide it, anymore. She has also come out in the morning conferences that she gives and has said, well, they're saying that it is classified. We cannot ask what is going on. They already tried to ask to the government of the United States why they took away their visas to both of them. And apparently, the government of the United States has told them, we don't have to give you an explanation. You are under investigation. It is classified situation. We don't have to give you not even a number. We don't even have to give you no explanation whatsoever. You are under investigation and your visa has been canceled. So this has been, national news in our country, which tells us that the speculations, they have been speculating a lot. They have been saying, you know what? She's possibly in cahoots with the organized crime. Speculated of two bank accounts in the United States of America of Western Union and Wells Fargo that they had numerous accounts of, millions of dollars. Also, they are speculating that there is trafficking of gasoline all the way to the north of Canada. They're speculating in a lot of things, and the speculations keep growing. And she has no answers. The answer is, I don't know. I don't know what's going on. I don't know what is happening. And really, it is going to continue. Trump has said that it is going to keep on breaking and possibly stopping the tourist visas to a lot of politicians, which I believe that is the only way to expose the dirtiness which is happening right now in our country. It is the only way to expose it. And believe me, if this needs to happen, it needs to happen. That's the only way that these dirty politicians are going to get exposed, by saying the reality of what is happening in our country, why they're canceling their visas. You know, in Guatemala, apparently, according to Ryan Mata, the information is that they canceled 128 visas of 128 congressmen in Guatemala. What makes you think that they are going to give an explanation to the governor of Baja when they did not even give an explanation to the 128 congressmen? Posted on X, and also he has published in several other outlets. The Trump administration has moved to block the U.S. to travel of Mexican politicians who they say they are linked to drug trade. So the revoked visa on the governor of Baja California, it is completely a serious topic, not only to Mexicans, but also to the United States of America. It can link to who politicians are involved in illicit and illegal activity in Mexico and also with the United States of America. This is a speculation of mine, but who's the governor of Baja? Marina del Pilar. And who's the governor of California? Guess who? Gavin Newsom. Oscar Blue, reporting from Tijuana. Stay safe. That is one of the things that is completely important for everybody to understand. If they're going to start blocking visas, it is because the government of the United States of America, the current administration, knows that a lot of illicit and illegal activities are happening with these people. Now, this is the first politician that they have made it public, and they blocked it completely in the border with California, the governor of Baja. Amazing. So they blocked her visa. What is next going to happen? You know, if they blocked her visa, let me tell you, it is not because they blocked it because she was not looking great on a Wednesday, or she did not cross and go to Disneyland on a Friday, or it was a crime of hate against women, or it was a persecution of a United States custom official to her and gave her a bad look and she took away her visa. Get the hell out of here with this. If they canceled her visa and they're saying, we're not giving you an explanation, you are under investigation, it is classified, it is because something's wrong. And she already said it on her morning conference. You know, the left in Mexico needs to understand this is something serious, and there's no way to keep it hiding. Now there's no way to keep it hiding, because this is the reality of what the country is going through right now. Complete insecurity, mass grave after mass grave being found by these collective groups consistently finding, you know, mass grave after mass grave after mass grave. It's a complete disaster. The insecurities which is happening. Just the confrontation that I just reported to you, that happened yesterday in the down parts of the central of the country of Mexico, where 3 of the military of Mexico were gunned down and 12 aggressors were also gunned down. But in those Sicario groups, they were former military from Colombia, which they were migrating through the Darien, through Mexico, and they were ultimately heading to the United States, but they couldn't achieve it. What makes you think that these individuals who were arrested, they had good intentions to go to the United States? Not only the United States, who look at what they're doing over here in Mexico, they did not have no intentions whatsoever to be good over here and to have a good job. It's unbelievable, the level of insecurity from this, assuming that this could be real, assuming that this could be a reality, that the governor of Baja, it is in cahoots with the organized crime, it is a done deal for this political party. It is a done deal. They just did a protest last week on the governmental plaza in Mexicali, where thousands were there, and they were making a carne asada, as that was their mode, and that was their way to basically protest. They made a carne asada. Everybody was bringing a grill. They were making, making tacos, making a carne asada, protesting against her. Potentially on Saturday, they're saying that there's going to be one right here in Tijuana, and there's a lot of people that are going to come protesting against the government and the insecurity that we're living. It is a reality, people. It is a blatant reality. Tomorrow, I am going to do a live speaking about the numbers that they are being manipulated by the government and also by the United Nations in terms of the intentional homicides that they are being categorized as involuntary manslaughter. It is unbelievable. And how many countries the United Nations has done this? In how many countries the United Nations has gone in and destabilized the numbers? And ultimately, not only that, how many countries has the United Nations gone in and completely changed the perspective of the aggressiveness that is happening of insecurities in that country and label it as, oh, you know what, is not a crisis. It was involuntary manslaughter. It was a negligent homicide. It's incredible. Incredible what the United Nations is doing. I don't know why. Possibly the current administration, it is going, to take some time to analyze this. They just got out of the WHO, the World Health Organization. Thank you. Thank you for getting out of that. The United States of America, just for everybody to know, they got out of the World Health Organization. Every agreement that they had with the World Health Organization, they got out of it. My God, what took them so long? Now what they need to do is get out of the Global Compact on migration. That's what they need to do. Get out of it. Get out of every single globalist, elitist agreement. That's what they need to do. Every single globalist compact that the United Nations is making, they need to get the hell out of it immediately. The Global Compact of Immigration, the Global Compact of the Environment, the Global Compact of Education, every single one, immediately get out of it. It is not worth it. It is causing destabilize. It's only destabilizing your borders. It is destabilizing your country. And not only that, it is costing millions and millions of dollars to the American people that they're continuously spending millions and millions of dollars on funding these, international organizations. That's it. And, particularly these international organizations, let me just tell you, they haven't left. They're still in Panama, operating in the city of knowledge, their main mecca of operandi. It is in Panama. OIM, the UNHCR. You should see the building of the United Nations. For God's sake, it is a state-of-the-art, first-class building, with the Clinton Foundation that is just half a block away from that. State-of-the-art vehicles, 2025 vehicles, all of them rich. 3 hours away from there is a humanitarian crisis in the Darien. There was a humanitarian crisis in the Darien. Good Lord that this stopped, because this administration, whether we like it or not, whether the policies they like it or not, whether they're protesting, whether they're denying it, this administration, because they shut down their border and they secured the border, there's no people dying in the Darien. There's no children dying and drowning in the Darien. There's no women getting raped in the Darien, and no children being abused in the Darien. There's no organized cartel crime taking advantage of the most vulnerable. There's no extortioning. There's no kidnapping in Central America. There's no smuggling between the border in Guatemala and Mexico. There's no caravans right now happening in the south of the border. There's no humongous crossing and abuse towards migrants in the border with Mexico and the United States. There's no migrants dying crossing the Rio Grande River. There's no consistently extortioning and kidnapping of migrants before they cross to the United States of America. Because they have completely shut down the borders and human trafficking, it has been a domino effect to the whole continent. I'm not even lying about it. So my question is this, if this is already completely shut down, why the United Nations, the UNHCR, and OIM why they still have their main offices in the south of the border in Tapachula, where they know that immediately if 2028 goes left, they immediately will escalate and they will try to recover what they lost on these 4 years. They will try to recover twice as big. And they will go at the current administration of the United States of America and they're going to say, you need to release funds immediately, millions and millions of dollars immediately. And there we go again, releasing money, billions to caravans, billions to over there to the Darien Gap, mass illegal migration that is going to cost, it's going to be double than what it was with Biden, because you have more than 1 million migrants in the parts of Mexico and a little bit with Guatemala. You have a mass migration waiting to explode if the 2028 elections, they do not decide to keep the border secure. It's not to keep immigrants out. No. Stop with your pandering and stop with your crying and stop romanticizing and just creating hysteria and sensationalism and alarmists. The stupid language barrier of defense. This is not that. It's everybody, everybody has the human right to migrate. There's a door. And there's a correct process to do it. Nobody's saying anything against that. What I'm saying is the massive flow and the illegal flow to non-ports of entry, where the cartel has become 2 times powerful on artillery, on territory, economically, and financially because of the illegal migration and the global compact on migration of the United Nations. Why are they still present inside of the border? Why? Why they're still there? Why they're still in Tapachula, where they were massively constructing and making caravans after caravans? My God. With the network Real America's Voice News and Broadcasting for the War Room with Mr. Steve Bannon, I covered more than 12 caravans. And it was consistent going over there. One that it was 3,000, one that it was 4,000, one that it was 6,000, one that it was 8,000, one that it was 10,000, one, the biggest one, that it was 13,000. Micro caravans, I walked a lot of them, that it was 300, 400, 500. It was consistent every year of the Biden administration. Seeing women suffering, seeing children being dehydrated on caravans, walking with them with barefoot, with no shoes. Meanwhile, the United Nations vehicle was, driving on the side of the caravan, looking at children with barefoot, with no shoes and not doing anything. It is going to pivot again if the 2028 elections go to a rhino, go to a elitist, go to a globalist, go to a Marxist, go to a communist. These international organizations, they're the head of the snake, and they're still at the south of the border in Tapachula, Chiapas. They're still present in a part of Central America. They're humongously present in the part of Panama because they know that the Darien Gap, it immediately can explode. Immediately. It doesn't take a magician to just say to the cartel of Colombia, bam, it is open. Let's start. Flow again from Venezuela, inviting the Chinese, the enormous trafficking from China to Hong Kong, from Hong Kong to Turkey, from Turkey to Ecuador, from Ecuador to Medellin, from Medellin, all the way to Necoclí, Colombia, from Necoclí, go to the Darien and try to not die. It's amazing. From Afghanistan, from Pakistan, from Bangladesh, from Yemen, from Iran, from Cameroon, from Burkina Faso, from Nigeria, from Congo, from Bangladesh, from the India, from Nepal, from Vietnam. Man, I walk with so many countries. And all of that, it is going to explode again. It's going to, massively explode. If it goes sideways, look what it has done. A lot of the people are complaining right now of the Trump policies, and they're saying, oh my God, massive deportations. You got to be kidding me. You want to talk about massive deportation? Check out the numbers right now of Trump. It's not even comparable to what the most racist and mercenary president that has ever been in the United States of America by the name of Barack Obama was doing at his time of his governments. I didn't see nobody crying over there. I don't see nobody protesting outside. I didn't see nobody complain about the children in cages. I didn't see nobody complain about the mass deportation. I didn't see nobody complain about the construction of private prisons to keep immigrants in there. I don't see nobody complain about the enormous disaster with Fast and the Furious. I don't see nobody complain about the billions of dollars that they were being completely, distributed to Mexico to feed the cartels in some places. I don't see nobody complain about it. The numbers right now of Donald Trump, and I'm not defending him. I am not defending him. I'm just stating the facts. The numbers of Donald Trump in terms of deportation, they're not even comparable to what Barack Obama right now was doing. Barack Obama right now, we are in May, January, February, March, April, May. Right here in May, he had almost like 600 and 700,000 migrants that he already had deported. Why? Because he had the federal judges, but because he had all the system, colluded, and he had all the system, basically manipulated for him to do whatever the hell he wanted. Now, the current president has to go against that, has to go against the interior corruption that is happening inside of the country of the United States of America. Why am I talking about interior corruption? Why am I referencing to that? I reported on this from the port of entry of San Isidro. What I reported, 3 Customs Border Protection officers were arrested or detained by their own authorities because they were letting in illegal immigration through their vehicle ports of entry into San Diego, California, from Tijuana, Mexico, and the San Isidro port of entry, the most visited and transit vehicle port of entry between the United States and Mexico and parts of the world. How many they let in? They were corruptibly dragged by the organized crime and the cartel, but the audacity of the cartel and the bluntness of the organized crime to basically go and move up forward to the Customs and Border Protection officer and say, millions of dollars you can make, man. You see that beautiful place in Dubai? You want to go over there? Rent a Ferrari or a Lambo? Go around a weekend? You can be that. Temptation was so inevitably, it was there to be tempered. They were so tempted to touch it. And 3 of them, they got arrested. So now it's not only fighting against the judges that a lot of them, they're saying they're pro-migrant. A lot of them, they're saying against illegal migration. A lot of them, they don't even want to deal with nobody. The judges are saying, let me just drag it out a little bit. Not talking about that. The only thing that I'm talking about, it is the interior corruption that is happening inside the institutions. Have to deal with that also. Undoubtedly have to deal with that. But the only positive thing about this that I can say, that if he shut down the Darien, I can tell you I've been there 4 times. And I can tell you, the only place that I do not recommend a child to be walking and a child to be suffering and a child to expose himself to life and death situations, it will be in that place. It will be in that particular place. Inside of that place. I will guarantee you, I will not do it. But, the necessities of people living in a socialist country like Venezuela, and I'll be honest with you guys, I walked with a lot of good people. There was a lot of good people, a lot of fantastic people. But there needs to be a process, and they took advantage of these people, of the vulnerabilities, to drag masses of people with a political purpose, because they did not let them in just because they want to be humanitarian. Stop with this fake humanitarian situation. Everybody knows that you do not let them in with a humanitarian purpose. You let them in with a political purpose because how can you take advantage of this further on when you flood red states and completely start turning them into blue states. That was your whole purpose. 10 to 15 years, 20 years from now, you will have a complete red state turning to blue. And that was completely your 10 to 15 year on long-term, plan to completely eradicate the other political party. The way that it has been happening in China, the way that it has happening in Venezuela, the way that it has happened in several countries where they have continuously been for years and years and years and years of governance. Exactly what is happening in Mexico. And Mexico is fighting this off. This what is actually happening to the governor of Baja, the exposure of the complete assassinations to political figures and political, political people that they work for political government positions, the assassinations and the insecurities which it has been happening. All of this is exposing the Mexican president, and the right-wing political party is on the rise. The right-wing political party is on the rise in Mexico. They're having the boldness and they're having the courage to stand up and say, you're corrupt. So actually, shutting down the border has been not shutting down the, shutting down the border in some ways, let me say it, hypothetically speaking, shutting down the border has completely trickled and domino effect to other situations to be rescued. What are the other situations to be rescued, people? People not dying inside of the Darien, children not being abused and being trafficked, women not being exploited and being trafficked, cartel not making millions of dollars in the parts of Central America and South America, cartel not exploding and kidnapping and abducting people to be part of their organized crime in the cartel and force them to fight the opposition. These kind of situations, they have grown into a place that right now I can tell you, inevitable, it's inevitable. It has brought to these countries a level of peace. The countries where there was a mass transit. Why? Because imagine the government of Panama, they let all these NGOs in. All of them. They said, you know what? We're going to let you in. We're going to let you help us with this crisis. Don't worry about it. I'm going to let you in. I'm going to let you in to come in and help us with this crisis. It didn't took in so long to these NGOs to immediately start criticizing the government of Panama and start saying, you're not doing enough. We're the ones that we need to handle this. You're completely ruining the whole plan. You're completely destroying, the illegal, the migration. You're against immigrants. So they started attacking them and they started accusing them. Imagine this. The government of Panama let them in, and now they're being attacked by these NGOs and globalist organizations. It is unbelievable what they were doing. Exactly what they were doing in the United States borders with Mexico. The NGOs, when they will see a mass illegal migration through a non-port of entry where there was no wall, you got an NGO right there waiting. They were waiting with some diapers and some baby wipes and some water. Oh my God, let me help you. And after that, process them to DHS. And you better not, you better not touch him bad. You better not force them. You better not insult them, Border Patrol, because I'm recording you and I will put a lawsuit on you. The ACLU lawyer was there, always present, to be oppressing the Border Patrol agent. How things and how times were changing under the Biden administration, that an NGO had more authority that the Border Patrol. Isn't that incredible? That was the reality. An NGO had more authority than the Border Patrol. Oh my God, you're a bootlicker of the white man. You're a bootlicker of the America. No, I'm not. Is that we knew what the NGOs were doing, and you were profiting millions of dollars out of just federal grants and the human misery. You were living out of human misery. And now that you don't have nothing to live out of, you're sucking the teeth of just class action lawsuits against the government. That's the only thing that you're doing. Class action lawsuits. Oh my God, you're mistreating the migrant. Class action lawsuit. That deportation. Look at the case of Abrego. How they have extended this case, that they took it all the way to Congress. The case of Kilmar Abrego, a case of one migrant that is registered now, and there has evidence of the situations of in behalf and of his persona. And these situations of his persona, there's a vast evidence of what they happen, what this persona represents. And still, the Democrats, the leftists, the progressives want to defend the undefendable instead of concentrating on the reality of the problems that the United States is living right now. They want to concentrate on one migrant. What about all the other hundreds of thousands that they have been waiting for a legal process? What about the hundreds of thousands that they want to do things right? What about the hundreds of thousands that they don't want handouts? They want just a visa to work. What about them? Democrats do not care about the actual reality of immigration. They just want to profit from it. They're using it to win elections and to destabilize. And they promise all the time with the finger in the mouth that you're going to fix DACA, that you're going to document 11 million undocumented individuals like Barack Obama, like Joe Biden said. It is the reality. Which is the only president that has given amnesty to migrants? Was it a Democrat? Was it Biden? Was it Clinton? Was it Bush? Even a neocon like Bush? Who was it? Was it the Senate of Hillary Clinton? Was it AOC that put out something for Congress? Let's give an amnesty. Who was it? Was it Alexandria Ocasio? Was it Rashida Tlaib? Was it Ilhan Omar? Was it Veronica Escobar? Was it Gavin Newsom? Was it Chuck Schumer? Was it Peter Buttigieg? Who was it? It was not a Democrat. Let me just tell you, it's evident that shutting down the border of the United States of America, not shutting it down completely, but securing the border. Let me just say it like it is. Securing the border of the United States of America has caused a collateral effect of people not losing their lives and people not being trafficked and abused. Now, if the program CBP1 reopens and stuff like that, good opportunity for the migrants. If they want to reopen it, go ahead. I'm not against the opportunities to migrants. I'm a migrant myself. So if that opportunity comes and they want to do it legally and do a process, go ahead. If it is passed by Congress, it is passed by the Senate, and if the president of the United States signs it, there it is. That's your process. As in the past, a lot of the people were like, well, CBP1 is a bypass for illegal immigration. And Joe Biden was basically making millions of dollars out of it. There's a lot of suggestions, but I don't see nothing on the table by the Democrats right now to fix this solution. Now, lastly, before I go, I will tell you the most irresponsible thing that the Biden administration did. They created this CBP1 app, right? And they made a whole apparatus to make everybody believe that that was going to last for the longest of time, for millions and millions of years. Joe Biden right now, it is in the news that the man has cancer. You don't have cancer from one day to another. He was ill. Meanwhile, it was his presidency. And I'm so, I have lost family members to cancer. I don't wish that to nobody, really. To nobody. It's an enormous suffering. But I will tell you, the enormous corruption for him to be manipulated and for him to just basically not know what is actually who was manipulating the illegal migration as a weaponized migration to the United States of America, it is a case that it should be taken extremely seriously by the American people. How he was manipulated and how he admitted all of this to happen. And because of the irresponsible decisions to say, oh, CBP1 is going to continue for the rest of time, you had more than 1 million migrants waiting in the country of Mexico to see if they were going to be applicable for CBP1. Now what they're going to do. What the Democrats did? Have you heard anything from Alexandria Ocasio saying about CBP1? Have you heard anything by Rashida Tlaib saying anything about CBP1? Have you heard anything being said not only by Rashida Tlaib, but Ilhan Omar, all these progressive mercenary liberals? Have you heard anything about that? Have you heard anything about that? Has anybody heard anything about making a change about CBP1 or trying to rescue what they left? They pack up their things and they went away. That's what they did. Meanwhile, you got 1 million 1 million individuals scattered and stuck, not knowing what can happen. You got hundreds of thousands in Central America and South America waiting to see, well, they told us that we were going to go, but now all of a sudden it's done. Joe Biden promised us that he was going to let us in. It's a lot of promises and broken promises. Now you have millions of people stuck, not knowing what they can do. A lot of people say, go back to your country and wait. This is why elections from now on into what's coming, they're going to be extremely important. Elections from here on. Elections from here on, what I'm talking about, 2028. See who is going to come and see who is going to be the next elected president to run for the Republican Party. J.D. Vance, I don't know if he's going to be the one, but who's going to be for the Democratic Party? And what is, the Democrats are not going to change. It is going to be the same globalist agenda. It looks and it feels and it smells that is their agenda. They're not changing it. Just for everybody to understand, they're not changing it at all. They want to be a globalist country, and they're trying to transform the country of the United States into a socialist country. They have lost common sense. They have lost common ground. Even Bernie Sanders is not even trusting his own political party, the Democratic Party. He's saying that they have lost their mind. This is the most incredible thing about it, that elections from here on, from 2028, they're going to be incredibly important for everybody to understand. How's everybody doing? Thank you so much for joining in. It is 2:46 in the evening, West Coast time. Today is the 21st of May. God bless you all. Buy me a coffee. It is right there, a pin in the chat. There's an app for you to contribute to my independent reporting and travel fund. We are going to be traveling soon, hopefully. So thank you so much for joining in. Hopefully the information was, of your, it was, in a way profitable for you guys, that you can, get this information and take it and digest it and do more of your research. This is the incredible, situations which is happening. So let me just see right here. Rafael Soto, who's your audience? Well, I'm talking to the audience right here. They speak English. I don't know if you see, I have right here on my screen almost 900 people on this live. Who are you talking to? I'm talking to people. I'm doing a program. With all respect to you, but you're not talking to Mexican people with your content. No, I'm talking to the people that they know how to speak English. Just because you're Mexican, this is denigrating. And this is completely, this is what I hate about, it is so, you guys are so demeaning. The progressive liberals are so demeaning. Just because you're Mexican doesn't mean that you don't know how to speak English. There's a lot of Hispanic. Press 1 if you're Hispanic and you're listening right here. Or if you have Mexican family members in Mexico. Press 1 right here if you have family members in Mexico and if you're a Mexican citizen. This is so demeaning. This is what progressive liberals are, man. This is what progressive liberals are. It's so demeaning. Look at that. 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. They know how to, there's a lot of people that they're bilingual. It is so disrespectful, these people. They're so disrespectful. Just because you're brown doesn't mean that you have to speak Spanish only. You can have the capacities and capabilities to speak several languages. And the bad thing about it is that because of these progressive liberals, they're the ones that they are labeling as just to have the capacities to work as construction workers, to work as gardeners. That is a really respectful, employment. But we have the capacities to be lawyers, to be architects, to be engineers, to be doctors, to be senators, to be congressmen. We have that capacity. For God's sake, look at what the vote have to do on this past elections. And I'm not saying for people that are like, oh, the Hispanics voted for Trump or not voted for Trump. I'm not going for that. Look how much it was so important. The vote of the Hispanic Latino population in the United States of America. It was so important that it created a difference inside of the United States of America to get a political candidate into the presidency. That's how important we are. We are not a minority. We have never been a minority. That's an ideology by the progressive liberals to mercenary look demean, create a demeanor to us, to mercenary making us look bad, to demean us, to basically make us look less. That is their strategy. Always divide, always be like a victim. This is the sad thing about it, that because we look brown and because we look Mexican, we're not eligible to speak different languages. How incompetent and how stupid is that? We have the capabilities and capacities to speak 5, 6 languages. And if we want to do a live feed speaking Chinese, speaking Arabic, speaking whatever language, Italian, we can do it. Why? Because what makes you believe that we don't have the capacity to do it? El que es perico donde quiera es verde, carajo. Y un mexicano donde quiera es cabrón. Un mexicano donde quiera se la rifa. That's the bad thing about these people. That's the bad thing about these people, man. And it hurts me because that's the way these progressive liberals, they look at our people, man. They look that we don't have the capacities to do more. Look at what, Jerry Nadler said. Jerry Nadler, a progressive leftist mercenary liberal, he said, we need illegal immigrants to pick up the rotten lettuce in California, because if nobody picks it up, what are we going to do? Look at this incompetent imbecile of Jerry Nadler. Why? Because without immigrants, illegal immigrants, a word that you hate so much and you're using it, that's the only capacities that you have? That's the only thing that you need us for? No. We need to understand how much we have grown, how much that economy of the United States has grown because of the Latino Hispanic population. And it has grown so much that, let me just put you an example. This past elections, it was the decision vote in the United States of America. Look how important, not because they put a Republican or they put a Democrat. Look how important the Hispanics we are worldwide. That the leader of the country, leader of the world, one of the most strongest countries in the world, it has been decided by the vote of the Hispanics and the Latinos. And you're coming over here to progressively demean us and make us look like less, that we are a minority. No. The United States of America, it is a country that in the eyes of God, everybody's created equal. Racism is a feeling, it is a reality that is happening, but we need to adapt that we are men and we are there to work. We are not there for a feeling. Remember, before you crossed that wall, you were complaining about the insecurities. Let me put a hypothetical example. In Mexico, complaining about the persecution of Mexico, and not even complaining, the reality of the insecurity in Mexico, the reality of the assassinations, the reality of the mass graves, the reality of your being extortion of your business because the cartel is completely taxing you every week and every month. And then all of a sudden you cross to the United States of America and you're complaining about it. Oh my God, they're not giving me enough benefits. These rights, oh my God, this sensationalism. No, we are there to get better at the economy, to work. We are hardworking people. We are the example of hardworking people to the world. Why we are supposed to be demeaning and denigrating somebody because of their color of the skin? My God, who am I talking to? I'm talking to people, normal, average people. And I'm right here talking to people that they are following exactly what you're not doing. That is ultimately respecting each other and loving each other without the color of the skin. The most beautiful man in this planet that walked this planet was Jesus Christ. And believe me, he did not care about the color or if you were sick or if you were poor. Let's stop with the demeaning. Why? Because I'm speaking English? And plus, by the way, if you want to ask, if you want to ask a question, where did I learn my English? I learned watching the Thundercats and G.I. Joe and Saved by the Bell on Saturdays. That was my school. And listening to my first rock band that I ever listened to in my life, that it was Guns N' Roses. That's how I learned English. Did I go to a school to learn English? Later on, when I was in elementary, they teach you how to go, speak English, and in high school and junior high school and high school, they teach you. But the way that I learned it is just watching cartoons and singing the song that I did not even at the time I did not even know what he was talking about. The Sweet Child of Mine. I didn't like, wow, it sounds good. It sounds nice. It's amazing how el enemigo de un mexicano es otro mexicano. The enemy of another Mexican is another Mexican. Somos cangrejos. Le jalamos la pata al que va adelante. Nomás porque no estamos de acuerdo y estamos viendo que está saliendo adelante, le voy a jalar los pies. Because we're not agreeing with him and because we don't like his points of view, we pull him to the back. We don't want him to succeed. It's us and it's our way. And if it is not our way, you're not going to succeed. No. If he has this, it's called freedom of speech. If he has a different point of view and if he's succeeding, God bless him. It will be your turn one day and you will succeed also. It's God's plan. That's it. Thank you so much for joining in. It is 2:56 in the evening. It is 21st of May. And look what I'm drinking. Ocean spray. God bless you all. Thank you for joining in. I am and thank you for the people that they were Hispanic and there are Latino that they just immediately entered right here. There's a lot of people that they follow, they're Hispanic and they're Latino. They were the decision maker on this election. Are we not important in the United States? My God, we are the decision maker in an election. That's what we are. And we are the hard-working economy of that country. Everybody works hard. A lot of the times, and before I go, when I was in the middle of the Darien, talking to migrants, they understand that they are going for something that is a dream. And it is incredible. This is one of the other sides that I wanted to tell you. They believe on certain things that is the nothing, la nada. And nothing, it is where they achieve their dreams, that is the impossible. And they will go through a jungle, they will go through life and death situations, river, rape, abuse, seeing their friends dying. But they will achieve it because they already believed in it, that they are going to achieve it. It is incredible, the mindset. Badly educated, yes, it is wrong, yes, it is, but it's incredible, the mindset, the audacity, and also the effort, the relentless effort to be pushed, to basically jump one obstacle to another and another and another, and to accomplish it. It is just unbelievable to watch that. But it's more unbelievable to understand what can we accomplish if we were well educated on every topic. There's a man over here that he had a magazine and he did an interview with me, and it's called Latino Excellence. He was a young guy. And he said, Oscar, I will tell you something that is wrong with our people. Nos enseñaron a trabajar, pero no nos enseñaron a estudiar para ser exitosos. And that is right. When we were young, we were taught how to work hard. Since we were young, 5, 6, 7 years of age. Ándale, mijo. Vengas, ayúdame con la pala. Come on, son, help me with the shovel. Come on, let's go outside and wash the car. Come on, pick up your this, do that, do this. But they never taught us how to be successful in an educated manner because the lack of resources, ultimately also the lack of help, the lack of economy, the lack of opportunities. We didn't have that when we were young, but now we have it. So it is time for us to educate the next generation of young individuals to be hard workers, but also to be extremely smart on how to invest, how to be an entrepreneur, how to be successful, how to be a leader, and how to do things right. This is what we need to do. That's what we need to do. Educate the young to not make mistakes, to say, this is what I did. Look, and it was horrible, this mistake that I did. But I don't want you to commit this mistake, because you're going to go through hard atrocities and difficulties. And it is going to be difficult. And these decisions are going to create a difficult pathway in your life. But I want you to be better. This is where we share humbleness and we share our knowledge. It's one of the most beautiful things that Jesus Christ did when he was in the planet. He taught his disciples how to be humble. You know, when he sent them to cure the sick and to do miracles, he said to his disciples, you are only going to take your clothing, no food, nothing. Like that, I want you to go. And one of his disciples had a limp. You guys know that, right? And he had something on his leg that it was basically bothering him a lot. And he said, Lord, you gave me the power to heal other people. You're giving me the power to heal other people, and I cannot even heal myself. Can you heal me? And he said, you want to be healed? And it says, yes, I want to be healed. It's like, you really want to be healed, or you want to tell a different story? The story that is not about being healed and not about the pain, is about you not caring about yourself and caring about others first, and fixing and helping others instead of yourself. My God, what a beautiful lesson. And this goes to this comment right here. Who are you talking to? They're not Mexican. Whoo, my God. Jesus talked in Aramaic and Arameo, and he made a difference to the world because he is the Son of God. It is not about the language, it's about the message that you give. It is not about the language, it's about the same example that you want to do. It is not about the language, it is about what you're doing. If it is wrong, if it is right, you're trying. Never stop trying, for God's sake. Never. We don't stop trying. We fall, we get up. It hurts, but we get up. And when we get up, we're going to go down again, and we're going to get up. It doesn't matter the attacks. It doesn't matter the obstacles. It doesn't matter the inconsistency. It doesn't matter the ups and downs. It does not matter that sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. We are consistent and we get up. That's what we do. And that's what we made for. So always like this, try to understand demeaning somebody because of their color or demeaning somebody because of their race. You have to learn and understand that you're better than that. And you can be the example. Imagine you're here listening to a comment and you have the ability to understand English also and to comment from your capitalist phone that you're actually using, right? And you have the time to answer, you have the time to type. Well, you have also the ability to educate somebody else on your mode, on your way, whatever you like it. But you're trying to do something right. God bless you guys. I extended already, man. I did a little rant. I'm going to be releasing my book in a month or so. In my book, we are going to explain all the experiences that I went through in the Darien and also the experiences that I went through in the caravans. But more than that, I'm going to start doing presentations on state prisons and federal prisons in Mexico and also in Central America and South America, and publicly speak to the people and to the inmates, and also go to addiction centers and go to elementary schools and high schools to speak about my statements, my experience, my life, my history, and how can we overcome every obstacle no matter what. And we can do better in life. And we can have the audacity and the courage to move forward. How can we do that? Of course, absolutely. It's going to be encouraging to do that. And it is going to be exciting to do that. Because this is the number one thing that we need to start doing, talking to the youth. And we need to start doing, talking to everybody. There's a question right here. What do you think about jihad they practice against God? I don't like to get into religion. We are believers of Jesus. Jesus loves everybody. No matter the color, no matter the religion, no matter the belief. Remember how he talked to the Gentiles. And with love and compassion in the word of God, they believed them. So let's stop dividing, and let's start loving more each other and putting the example of Jesus and the example of love, the example of unity. No war. No war between us. That is the actual cause of every catastrophe and every division. You will divide, you conquer. That's one of the things that the Marxists and the communists, and also Karl Marx and Engels, they know how to divide a country. You divide, you conquer. You create animosity, you conquer. You create division, you conquer. You create instability, you conquer. So it's always, the word of God, first and foremost, over everything. God bless you all. Thank you so much for joining in. Thank you so much. It's 3:05 already extended for every single one of you. And for people that are saying, oh, you know what? What do you think about Islam? And I respect every religion. I have met Sunni Muslims that they are peaceful. They're extremely peaceful, as I have met, people in the Jewish community that they are also peaceful, that they want to be on their way. As I have met, Muslims that they are, a little bit radical. As I have met also Jewish people that they are, different, and they do not accept that Jesus is the Messiah, and as I have met Christians also, that they're different. But the most important thing is that we need to come together as human beings. At the end of the day, it is the word of God. That is about it. Let's not go onto differences of opinion, onto differences of religion, because we're getting political. And everybody has the right to believe, even if they want to believe in a rock. Is that right? At the end of the day, one day, they're going to need God. When you're dying, you're going to say, Jesus, God, I'm sorry. It was you all the time. I'm so sorry. It was you all the time. It is what it is. At the end of the day, we claim his name. Thank you so much for joining in. Thank you, and thank you. I will talk to you guys tomorrow about around the same time. I thought that I was going to go live at 4:20, West Coast time today. But, I ended up going a little bit early because I got a bunch of things to do right now. We got to do a lot of things right now. So I decided to go early and possibly, if people want to see it later on, where they can see it later on. Let me just go right here with the comment. Oscar, Mexico don't want any assistance from the United States, but they can't control the organized crime. It is the responsibility of the Mexican people and the responsibility of the Mexican government to take care of their problems. The United States has a lot of problems. Why do you want another problem? What Donald Trump is doing is exposing the corrupt politicians and exposing also the cartels as terrorists. They're pushing them to a corner to do something. And the awakening of the Mexican people to understand that we're living under a narco government. We're not asleep anymore. We're actually seeing it. You're going to see in the next incoming days, as last week, we saw a protest in the governmental palace of Mexicali right here in the state of Baja. People are tired of the violence and insecurities. And things like this, possibly they're going to happen. I don't know. But there's more awakening of people. They're understanding that insecurities, and we need justice for just to live at peace. It's sad to say, son, don't go out at 8 o'clock at night because it's dangerous. That is a sad thing to say. Or the little girls that they have to, worried about not getting kidnapped or abducted by the organized crime and the cartel. It's sad. But we need to go through that process of the awakening. In the awakening process, there's going to be a lot of things that we're not going to like. Instability, possibly inner wars with these organized crimes and these cartels. But at the end of the day, as I have said, God will win. And we need him more than ever. Look what Bukele said. We had two wars, the inner war with the MS gang and my military. And I was afraid that I can lose military men to these men. That was the most hardest war. The other one, we already had it on the pocket. And Tucker Carlson asked him, what is the other one? And he responded, it's Satan. We just bring God to our country, and that is it. That is completely it. And he brought it to his country. Look, from being the murder capital of the world, is one of the most safest countries in the world. So it can be accomplished. Absolutely. Yes. Watching from Stockton, California. Thank you, Oscar. Shout out to your friend Chuck Holden that introduced me to you. It's not my friend, it's my mentor. I love that man. He has created a big difference, in my life. And I always ask him for things that I'm about to do, whether, whenever I have a doubt of what I'm about to do, I call him all the time. And I said, you have a minute. And he always is there to answer the phone and says, Oscar, this is this, and that. So he's more than a friend. He's my mentor. God bless you guys. Stay safe. And like we always say, people, God's plan, it is our